Buenos dias. We are here welcoming our governor, Governor Gavin Newsom. Welcome to Planned Parenthood Los Angeles. As you all know, this has been a devastating week for reproductive health care and justice and abortion rights across our country. We at Planned Parenthood Los Angeles are taking care of patients, hundreds and thousands of patients every single day. We're doing that right now, no matter what. We will not be defeated by any decision. And we, here in Los Angeles and across the state, will not back down. Our governor is a champion, has always been a champion for reproductive health care and justice, and we are prepared for this moment. We will not be defeated. We're thankful for his leadership, and we're thankful that we know this legislature will continue to fight alongside our governor. Our health centers will not be defeated. We will continue to take care of every single patient in this county and in our state. Welcome, Governor Newsom.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you for all of you. Really appreciate all of you. Senator, thank you very much. Sue, thank you for the privilege of being here and creating the opportunity for me to be here to say a few words. Look, I just want to share and add my voice, the voice of quite literally tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans, and express my outrage about the decision the Supreme Court appears to have made as it relates to rolling back our constitutional rights. The rights have been well established and affirmed over and over again for close to half a century. It's a remarkable moment. I remember receiving from my staff, Ann Patterson, my legal secretary, that political article, and I said, is this the Onion? Is this actually happening? Is this true? I honestly felt that way. In so many ways, it was predictable, but when you actually saw that decision, you started to flip through it, it's just a remarkable moment in American history. At a time when countries around the world are expanding liberties, expanding freedoms, expanding rights, here we are in the United States of America about to roll back rights. The entire history of the Constitution has been about the expansion of rights. The entire history of the United States has been about expanding rights, not restricting rights, not rolling back rights. And this Supreme Court is poised to roll back constitutionally protected rights. And don't think for a second, this is where they stop. And if you think it affects someone else over there, this is about you. I mean, if the right to privacy is not foundational, they're coming after you. They are. Fill in the blank. Who is you? It's us. It's all of us. Across a spectrum of issues. You think for a second same-sex marriage is safe in the United States of America? Give me a break. You heard an Indiana senator, United States senator, not retired, a current senator, a U.S. senator, start talking about Loving versus Virginia. I'm actually old enough to remember that Loving decision was determined in my lifetime. Blacks couldn't marry whites in the United States of America, and he actually suggested, because that's unenumerated in the Constitution, that should be on the docket for the U.S. Supreme Court. Just think about that for a second. And you don't have to think that far back. I'll never forget. You look at the lower court decision in the Loving case, I'll never forget the decision. The judge, when sentencing Richard Loving to prison, said, God, sir, God never wanted the races to mix, because God put different races on different continents, he said, for a reason. That was the judge's decision. How far removed are we from that kind of thinking today with this current Supreme Court? I'm serious. How far away, how far removed are we from that kind of thinking with this current majority on the U.S. Supreme Court? But it's not just the Supreme Court. Just think about what President Trump did during his just 4 years as president. 231 federal judges, 84% white, 76% male. Young federal judges, 54 of them on the appellate court. This is not just about the 3 on the U.S. Supreme Court. Pay attention, America. They're coming after you next. That's not hyperbole. It is not hyperbole. Watch this space. If privacy is not constitutionally protected, this opens up panoply of issues. So this is a profound moment, and yes, we're not going to be defeated. Certainly not here in the state of California. In fact, we are going further. And while it's well established in statute since 2002 that we are a reproductive freedom state, we are going to enshrine that, codify that, as we should in the state constitution. And I want to just applaud the leadership in the Assembly and the Senate, Tony Atkins, Anthony Rendon, for not only supporting that effort, but embracing it in partnership with Planned Parenthood and its affiliates. And we'll be presenting that to the voters this November as an affirmative step to codify California's leadership. I want to remind folks, we are not just the richest state, 5th largest economy in the world, $3.36 trillion economy. We're the most populous state and the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. And we punch above our weight. This is not a small, isolated state, California. This is a state where we estimate 8.6 million California residents are of reproductive age. 8.6 million. That's more than dozens of states combined. The consequences of what we do here is profound and pronounced. And nor are we naive what to expect, not just with the dozen or so states that have these trigger laws and the likelihood anywhere from 25, 26 or so states, the majority of states in America, may roll back these freedoms and protections and criminalize doctors, criminalize caregivers, criminalize women. But we recognize California's unique status to stand above that and stand tall and stand out. And our responsibility, we've always felt it, our responsibilities to others. Not just to the few, 40 million proud Californians, but to others. And so we'll have to do more, we'll have to do better. And we've been doing that. We've not sat back passively. We've been anticipating. Sadly, we've been anticipating this. In fact, we just sat down. I said, we had a meeting, I think it was 6 or 7 months ago. We laid this out, and not one, every single thing that's happened has happened. I guess we just didn't know it was Alito. We knew it was part of it. So we've been preparing. We've been doing more so we can do better. Protect the health, protect the safety of women and girls, particularly those of color, and let's just disabuse ourselves that all those men up there and fancy suits and all their wealth and status and privilege, this is going to have a profound impact on their lives because their loved ones, their family members can get on Southwest or JetBlue and come with one of those blue states. But how about those folks that can't even afford a Greyhound bus ticket? How about all of those women and girls raped in states where they don't even make an exception for rape? Talk about extremists. Rape and incest. That's how extreme the Republican Party is in the United States of America. You want extremism. Rape and incest. They don't even make an exception. How many young women and girls, maybe someone you know or love, finds out 6 weeks and a day later, 15 weeks and a day later, that they're pregnant? They don't have the ability, the money to come to another state. It's not about strengthening the family. I'll end on this. I also find it just the height of perversity and absurdity that these folks, A, lay claim to freedom, but perhaps more insidiously suggest that they're pro-life. when every single one of these folks that are out there trumpeting and championing this decision have consistently opposed prenatal care support, consistently opposed child care, consistently oppose paid family leave, consistently oppose all things to actually strengthen the family and provide the support for someone to live their lives out loud, to support working moms. Consistently, the one group of people that over and over and over again oppose all of those supports, and they claim to be pro-life, they're pro-birth. That's all this is about. It's the pro-birth party. And then you are on your own, consistently opposing all of those supports. Hell, they don't even believe in climate science. Talk to me about being pro-life. Spare me. Your body, your choice. It's a hell of a moment to live in. But like you say, we will not be defeated. We will stand tall, we will stand firm, and we will affirm the currently constitutionally protected rights of women and girls, their reproductive rights and freedoms in California. And we will assert ourselves, as I said, as Californians by punching above our weight, working with other like-minded leaders and governors and legislatures all across this country. And we're not going to roll over. We will not back down. And we will continue to fill in the gaps and address the disparities that continue to persist even in a state like ours. Even in California, women and girls still have to travel long distances to access their reproductive rights. Even in California, though we're changing it, you still have women and girls that can't afford the copays for procedures and care. That will change in January. Even in California, can you imagine how so many others are suffering in all these other states? So this is a powerful moment. Personally, 4 young kids, I had to explain to my kids. I had some other friends of mine said I had a hard conversation, because the first conversation, very young kids, about what Roe is, and what privacy is, choice. Those are hard conversations with young kids. But they're conversations we're all having that we prayed we never would have to have, because we thought we were living in a country that was expanding freedoms and choice and providing sanctity, not only of those decisions to be advanced in privacy, but also protecting people's right to privacy as a foundational principle in our democracy and republic. So I'm grateful for all the incredible work of Planned Parenthood and all its 108 affiliates in the state of California. I'm really proud of our legislature, proud of our legislative leadership. We look forward to going in front of the voters, affirming this constitutional right in our state, in the Constitution, not just statute, because we now recognize the vulnerability of the moment we're living in, and continue to work with others all across this country, and continue our efforts to call out the hypocrisy that we see across this nation.
Governor Michael Edwin, AP, a lot's been written about how this is going to be a difficult election year for Democrats. You just mentioned voters. How do you feel this changes the political landscape?
No, and I think it's the right question. It's a hard one for me, because this is so much more pronounced and profound than just sort of an electoral frame. Though elections do have consequences, and we saw that with Donald Trump.
Do you think it'll have any effect? Does it shift the ground?
Putting my political hat, I hope so. Boy, guys, this has never happened in our lifetime. They're taking away rights that have been affirmed over and over again and well established. They are taking them away. Wake up, America. Wake up to who you're electing. I love that appalling silence. It's all about, it's this headline of this leak, the right to privacy against leaks, I guess, that matter more than the damn decision that is apparently pending. They have a hard time even defending this moment when they're wholly responsible for this moment. And so I hope people hold these elected officials into account, or to account, and I hope they consider the positions of those they are supporting or opposing in this election. And I certainly hope it has an impact, but that's not what this should be about foundationally, because it's so much more profound than just a situational election.
Governor, from a policy perspective, what exactly do you want to see California do?
Well,
Should taxpayers be funding people coming from other states to come here? What does the sanctuary state of California look like when it comes
Well, we've been doing that. We don't, you know, we didn't, I guess we've been doing a lot. Let me back up. I think, you know, it's always moments like this, what are you going to do next? But I really think it's important to talk about what we've been doing pretty consistently. I mean, no other state in the union is doing more to protect women's reproductive health and rights. And that's why I wanted to reflect back on the work we were doing in anticipation of this, because it led to a series of initiatives and bills, led to a new task force that was created, went to a series of recommendations, including dealing with copays that we enshrined in our budget that will go into effect in January. It went to the expansion of support for providers, supplemental support, $500 million that we provided to support our caregivers. Went to part and parcel of our $1.7 billion workforce ask of the legislature, because we have issues of recruiting and retaining healthcare workforce. It's gone to a series of other recommendations that are going through a legislative process, and a budget where just in 2 weeks I'll be putting out, for example, supports for a new portal, a new website to provide culturally competent access to people across the spectrum so that they know their rights and they know where those supports lie in the state. So we are initiating all of the above in ways that no other state has ever done. We also, and it's important to know, and I want to be sensitive about this, but when people come in for care, we take care of them, period. That goes to your question. Regardless of their ability to pay, regardless of their status across the spectrum. And that's been well established here in the States, a principle we hold dear. And I should just note the 108 affiliates of Planned Parenthood and Planned Parenthood provide care for about 1.4 million folks, meaning this is not just about the issues of abortion across the spectrum. Thousands and thousands of people seeking care from outside the state, not just for abortion as well, that we're already providing. And so that's baked into who we are and what we do. And to the extent that that need will grow, as a dozen or 20 plus states restrict that access, California will do its best to provide for as many people as we can.
Governor, right now, living in California, can feel pretty far away from what the residents of those 26 states that are going to be directly impacted by this, what they're feeling. What is your message to them, and what can Californians do to help them?
Well, we have their back. Know that they matter, we care. I hope we're a little bit of a beacon of hope, a bright light, that they're not alone. They shouldn't be scared. They shouldn't feel isolated. I want folks to know in California they shouldn't feel alone. Access to reproductive health is legal in this state. I want to remind all Californians, regardless of what you're seeing up in the nightly news and the cross currents of that debate here in the state of California, we're doing more and providing much deeper and better service. And I want folks to know across this country that we're going to fight for them as well, not just here in the state of California. Success leaves clues. California, as I said, punches above its weight. California has a profound impact on policy across the nation on a spectrum of issues. And I also, may I say this, and perhaps I'm getting a little off, for all those businesses, the idea that you're moving your companies to states and then you have to pay for your employees to travel back to the states that you made them move, maybe they should start reconsidering some of those decisions as well. This is an economic issue across the spectrum. At the end of the day, for women and girls, this is an economic issue. Make no mistakes. That's why this is about equality. This is about women's rights. It's so foundational. Sorry, Tucker Carlson. It is. Deeply. And that's why the issue of economics also needs to be a big part of this conversation.
During the Trump era, sort of lead the progressive movement. Do you see this in a similar frame as we head into the midterms, that there is going to be a progressive movement about abortion and then a conservative?
Guys, has anyone been paying attention to what the hell's happened in this country in the last 6-9 months? Anyone pay attention to what that guy DeSantis or something, Santos, is doing in Florida? The attacks on the LGBTQ community? I mean, they're going after now social emotional learning. I mean, CRT, I mean, just completely made up out of whole cloth. I mean, if there was any state that has CRT, I guess they couldn't figure out wasn't happening in California. So now it's about social emotional learning. They're coming after that next. They're banning books. They're banning books. This is 2022. Anyone paying attention? What the hell's going on? It's not just about January 6th. Voter suppression, private police forces. Can you imagine I have a private police force to send down to LA to make sure we're monitoring local elections? This is extremism at a scale and level I never experienced in my lifetime. Wake up, America. That's all this is about. Wake up. And so I'm a future ex-governor, a guy with 4 kids. Wake up. And I say that as a father. I say that as a Californian, as an American. Wake up, America.
Governor, you put out a tweet that said that this issue is the defining issue of the 2022 race. Why is this issue more important than inflation and homelessness and everything else happening here?
Because rolling back your fundamental constitutional rights has a profound impact across the spectrum of issues. It's a foundational issue. Everything's built off that fundamental right, freedom. I mean, if guys like me were getting pregnant every day, does anyone think this? This is comical. This is about controlling women. We know that. Historically, it has been. Come on. I mean, you can't. That's not a society that can thrive. There's something more important than empowering women and girls. And it's guys that look like me that are disproportionately deciding these decisions. I don't know. I think folks should really be pissed off at this moment. And if this doesn't animate people to get involved, I sure as hell, I mean it. I don't know what the hell will. Inflation, those are tough issues. Those are international issues. I mean, let's start level setting with folks. Inflation is not unique to the United States. That's an issue that persists all across the globe. Supply chain issues all across the globe. Wake up to what's happening in the macroeconomic sense. And I appreciate the president's work on that and his words this morning on that. All those issues are foundational. They're important. We're working on those 24/7. Budget reflects it. The work we're doing in this state, record surpluses, record rebates. California is going to do more than probably any other state in that space as well. But this issue is a foundational issue, and I think it goes to the core of what it means to be an American and those fundamental protections of privacy that we thought, yes, were inherent in the Constitution, First, Fourth, and Ninth Amendment.
Governor, people in the state of California identify you as Catholic. How do you plan to deal with Catholics in the state of California and convince them to support this idea to have California as a sanctuary state for abortion?
Look, I respect the differences. I've had a difficult time on a number of issues in this space with my faith and our traditions. But we're not mandating anything. We're providing the ability. We're not dictating the terms. They're dictating the terms. It's state-sponsored birth. You have to come to terms with the birth. And then see you later. You're on your own. And again, that should be the most outrageous thing. None of them are promoting across the spectrum support for families. They oppose all the budgets every single year. We can afford $2 trillion tax cut, but we can't afford paid family leave. We can't afford prenatal care. We can't afford child care. So with respect to those that disagree, you have the right to disagree. That's the freedom that we're promoting versus the mandates that they're promoting. Perhaps you two can talk more about what you anticipate, and then I'll answer what we'll do to support.
Yeah, we anticipate substantially more people coming to California and to Los Angeles. We've been working with our hospital partners, with a variety of partners across Los Angeles, across the state, in addition to our legislative and gubernatorial leaders, and really are doing all that we can to anticipate this moment, to have the infrastructure in place, and at the same time, as the governor said over and over and over, this is unprecedented. So we don't know, but what we do know is that our doors will stay open. We will do our damnedest to take care of every woman who turns to Planned Parenthood and all the other incredible healthcare providers across this state, and we will lift up the values of liberty and freedom, knowing that we will not be defeated in this moment or in the long term, because freedom is the future and the foundation of our country.
Are you anticipating some of the criminal
We are 100% anticipating that criminalization of women, of families, and of healthcare providers. And as the governor has said, California is preparing for that, but it's not enough. There are people who are in desperate situations all across this country who are about to be criminalized. There's no question about that. We're already seeing it.
Governor, regarding your budget, are you planning to include grants that would go to organizations in other states to help women who may be in need of abortions to get to California?
Yeah, not prepared at this moment. I know we've had a number of conversations. We have a task force with a series of recommendations of how to accommodate and support what's happening. But we'll have to work through with the legislature any determination around that direct support outside of the state of California. That may be more challenging for us, but providing support certainly within the state and supporting those supports for people coming in the states, that's a separate conversation, much easier for us to embrace.
Governor, hi, Francine from the Christian Science Monitor. There's 12 bills in Sacramento that are being worked through.
Yep.
You have your constitutional change you also want to do. Are you working with other states to help them with these things and sort of have California be a model for other states?
Absolutely. In fact, that was the initiation of our original meeting going back 6-9 months ago, was creating a template for other states, supporting and coordinating our efforts with other governors. We just sent out a letter as an example, a specific example to your question yesterday, with other governors, supporting efforts, so we are aligned in terms of that advocacy. We will continue to do more of that, but California in particular is proud of its template and the model that we're providing, including the supports that we're proposing and those that go into effect in January of 2023. Look, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And I think this requires a sense of coordination and collaboration like which we've never seen, bottom up, not just top down. We've seen this across the spectrum of issues, things getting stuck in Congress. I can't take any more Manchin and Senate. I can't take it. I can't take that. What can't be done? But I know what can be done when we come together, bottom up, and coordinate and collaborate, particularly at the state level. And I think the one thing, and forgive me for being long-winded, but I think this is important. It's an extended point, but an important point. One of the really remarkable things from my perspective that's come out of the COVID crisis is the renewed spirit of collaboration with governors and their chiefs of staff across the country. We have relationships that would never otherwise been formed, and those conversations are hand in glove now on this issue in ways that would not have occurred had we not had that 2-year experience.
You've talked a lot about the big picture. You've talked a lot about the big picture today. Sort of talk about what they're looking for next.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to Democrats in Washington to make that argument that people actually see that this is more than just one piece and what this is going to mean, what's happening?
I mean,
how can voters really understand?
well, I think you've seen, you referenced a tweet we sent out. Maybe you've seen a few others I've been sending out the last 6 months. And I felt this enormous sense of frustration. Like, where the hell's my party? Where's the Democratic Party? You guys paying attention to what's going on? It's not just, I mean, you know, it wasn't just the initiation of so much of this as came out of the private right of action and the actions in Texas, but it was all of these other bills that are just cookie cutter bills that are being, you know, spun out in states all across the country, across a spectrum of issues. Where is the Democratic Party? Where's the party? Why aren't we standing up more firmly, more resolutely? Why aren't we calling this out? This is a concerted, coordinated effort. And yes, they're winning. They are. They have been. Let's acknowledge that. We need to stand up. Where's the counteroffensive? Now, forgive me, I know some of you disagree, and I respect that. But, you know, I think we initiated on gun safety a version of a counteroffensive, where I took that frame when the Supreme Court opened up the door as it relates to private right of action, as it relates to ghost guns and you know, weapons of war. That's our approach. We're taking that approach, this constitutional amendment. It's time to get on the offensive. We sit there 24/7 taking it from the surround sound of the misinformation and rage machine on the right. They're disciplined every single day. And as I said, they figured out CRT didn't really exist, so now it's social emotional learning. And they'll come up with something else after they realize that's all bunk. They'll come up with something. They always do. These cultural wars. Where is the counteroffensive in the Democratic Party? Why aren't we waking up to that? And and it's not an indictment. I love Nancy. This is not about leader of the House of Representatives. She's across the spectrum delivering. It's just not getting through the door in the Senate. President is doing all he can to deal with 100 different crises, not least of which overseas. I applaud him for all of that work as well. It's about us as Democrats doing a better job to coordinate a more disciplined counteroffensive and message across the spectrum. And that's, I hope, if nothing else, what do you need than this decision to wake us up to that and start asserting ourselves a little more aggressively.
Lastly, what's your message to the woman right now in California or in another state who is scared? What's your message to them about what California's going to do?
You matter. We care. We have your back. We love you. We respect you. We know how hard these issues are. We know how hard life is. We know what you've been through the last 2 years, your fear, the anxiety you have, and now it's just been stacked even more. And we want you to know we're not walking away from you, our responsibility to support you and to help you. And those that are from outside the state know that they matter and we care about them as well. And we're going to do our best, try to lead by example, support efforts in their states to be there at their most vulnerable moments. And I'll never understand the work you all do. Talk about vulnerability. Talk about those moments that define a life and a direction. And what they do every single day to hold the hands of these remarkable people that have the courage to make these difficult choices, that should be honored and respected as well. And I just want to express, not only to those women, but to those providers and caregivers, thank you for all you're doing every single day as well. So thank you, and thank you all very, very much.